So, welcome to my talk. Thanks for coming. I'm also going to show you something about the histology. We're still staying in Poland. It's the same species. It's Metoposaurus Krasiejowensis. That's the animal. I'm not talking about the dermal bone anymore. I'm talking more about the long bones to give you more background on it. I was in my master's thesis. I was working on the histology of the humeri, and now I figured out that there are two growing patterns, and now I will show you also the growing patterns from the hind leg, from the femora, the tibia, and the fibula, and I will show you how the morphology corresponds to the histology. So that's the humerus. How it looks like. It's pretty amphibious, it's tetrahedral. It also preserves very nicely at the condyles. I used 16 humeri, and the stage range was from 46 to 82, and that was the smallest found specimen. I used over 40 thin sections, and here you see the morphology. It's pretty the same. The dorsal part is always fan-shaped, even in the smallest specimen. From the dorsal view, you can see always the cresta radiae. It's always preserved, even in the smallest one, and so the morphology is very unique. As you will see later in histology, it isn't that unique. In the femora, I used 16 femora. They were already carried. So that's how it looks like, very slender. But what we see here is it's more the fan-shaped pattern. With you see the eggs, and the second one is more the slender one in the shaft. So there are already two different types of the femora. So the morphology isn't that unique as in the humeri. Then I also had a look at the tibia and the fibula, and here I only had 6 tibia and 4 fibula, but the morphology also says that it's very, very the same. I mean, in the ontogeny, it's very simple, very unique. Uniform, not unique, sorry, but it's also unique, yeah. So, to sum it up from the morphology, humerus has only one morphotype, also that's the tibia and the fibula, but the femur does show two different morphotypes. So, how does it correspond with the histology? So here you see, for me, a typical thin section of the humerus. Here is the scan, and you can see here the medullary cavity that is really progressed. So you can see that it's not a juvenile anymore. And here you can see the cortex. It's still present in the entire bone. And what you can also see is here the vascularization. It's also something very typical. So if you have a closer look at that point, we can see here a lot of vascular canals that are longitudinally oriented. And we can distinguish between zones that are very vascularized, sometimes arranged in rows, and they correspond to better life conditions. And then you also see here some areas that there is no vascularity, and those are the annuli that are corresponding to rather better living conditions. And they are always made of lateral bone, and here the zones are made of fibrolateral bone. In another humerus, you can again see the same, the zones and the annuli. That's under the microscope. It's 500 micrometers. It's normal transmitted light, and here under the polarized light, you can better even see the boundary between the zone and the annulus. And you can also see here some transverse fibers. So that's the histotype 1, what I call it. So it shows an alternation between zones, annulus and annulus, and is vascularized only in the zone. But then I saw another humerus. That one is actually very, very much more vascularized. And the remodeling of the bone, the medullary cavity isn't that big, so it's more than juvenile stadium. And it has just vascular canals all over in the thin section, and you cannot really see any annealing. Maybe here at the anterior border, but it's actually just one zone. So, and from the sides, they are the same. So that's what I call then later the histotype 2. And that's actually what I figured out in the master thesis, that we have a uniform morphology, but we have two different histological patterns. And then I came to the idea what could it be? And then so I started to compare it with another long bones. And so in the femora, we also see the same as you may notice. There's an annulus, the zone, the annulus, so it corresponds again with the histotype 1. And so I had another femora, and it's the same, again, the same. A medullary cavity that is progressing, and again a zone, annulus, and zone, annulus. So again, the same thing. And what we also have here, something very nice. Those distinct lines of growth marks, and it looks like EFS, an external fundamental system. So that would actually imply that it was a sexual mature specimen. But if you look in this section again, there are again those lines, and then after that comes a zone, and again a line. So it's more a case of taphonomy, and it's not an EFS here. So you cannot say that it was sexual mature or not. And here another specimen. You can see here also those are just the growth marks, very distinct. And so it was like one of the last bones that I was looking at, and I almost gave up that there are no histotype 2, but luckily in one bone, in the size of 16, there was only one bone representing the histotype 2. So what I'm trying to say is it looks like the same like the UB574 specimen. It's again completely vascularized. It's actually only one zone, and the annulus is just at the end. Probably it was built up at the end of the life of the animal. So yeah, we have the histotype 2 in the femora also, and the same happens in the fibulae, that we have zones annuli. So what I can say that we have two histotypes, two different growth patterns in the Metoposaurus Krasiejowensis. And to sum it up, we have the first histotype that is moderately vascularized. It's shown always the alternation between the annulus and the zone. And the remodeling is progressive. It's moderately, but it's progressive. And then we have the histotype 2, that there's at first no remodeling, at the end it's just only remodeling, always. And we have just one complete zone and not an alternation between zones and annuli. It's very highly vascularized. So to conclude, we just found in it doesn't depend, it doesn't even correspond here in the femora with it doesn't depend on the two different growth morphotypes, we still see the two histotypes. So even though it doesn't matter if the morphology is very uniform or if there are two morphotypes, we still can find two different histotypes. So what does it tell us? It could be, of course, just a random variation, so it just occurs. But the second possibility would be a taxic diversity. But if you look at the skulls, they are very, very diagnostic for taxonomy. So there you can see that there's just one species. So I wouldn't go with that idea. Then we could have also their sexual dimorphism. It could be that the one histotype is showing us, a male and the other one is a female. But actually, how do we prove that? I still need to look at other sections, but that would be actually a cool explanation. And then, of course, as the title says, it could be actually two populations, and they could be it could be just separated in time, but actually we don't know how much time there is in the Krasiejow. Evolution doesn't go that fast. And so another possibility would be that it's separation in space. I think we should go with that. And since we know that from the taxonomy studies that it was once a catastrophic event and then all the material was just like floating to the area of today's Krasiejow, I would go with the idea that those are two different populations and that we have one population that was living in a pond, always filled with water, and that would be the histotype 2 with the nice stones, and the second population was more in a, let's say, something, a pond that was always dried out and like in the monsoonal, today's monsoonal region, and so the zones were like in the water-rich time, and then the annuli were made at the time when the water dried out, and then again. So I would go with the idea that it's two different populations separated by space. Sorry. So thank you for your attention, and thank you to the EVP for letting me present it here, and for the travel grant, and for my support from Apollo and from Bonn. And thank you.